Hello everyone, and welcome to the Deeply Renegade podcast. My name is Molly, also known as the Deeply Renegade, and I'd like to welcome you guys to episode 215. Today is Sunday, January 21st, 2018, and I'm glad you could join me today. I have hot chocolate because it's late. My husband and I ended up going on a big adventure yesterday that resulted in basically being in a car from 7 a.m. to 11 p.m., well, maybe 10:30. We emerged victorious, and so now my husband owns a Miata too now. It was a very long way to drive, so I got to knit the entire way there, but I had to drive the entire way back because I had two cars at that point. I had grand plans of being able to finish my cowl and start something new, and oh my gosh, and I'm still like a repeat and a half away. But better than not having it all, because given the option on a lazy Saturday, I would have not worked that hard on the cowl, but I did. So I'm probably a repeat and a half closer to being done, which I now know is approximately 6.5 hours in the car. And we all know that car knitting is like a different, like, space-time continuum unlike normal knitting. It's more like knit-night quality knitting instead of like on-the-couch quality knitting, if you know what I mean. So, this is where we're at. If I stretch, it's my wingspan, but whatever. I don't know, it may make sense to block this bad boy long, because it is pretty thick, all things considered. So, this is the Chevron Affinity Delight Cowl. I forget the designer. And I'm not quite to 7.5 repeats, but I'm pretty close. So listen after this. I'm definitely getting much closer to the collapsed ball state. So this is my Leopardopera, which is Madelinetosh Pashmina. Then I have my Sea Ice, which is 80-10-10 Sport Madelinetosh. And then Blue Nile, which is also 80-10-10 Sport. So I'm definitely going to have some leftovers of the green and blue, but should be good to go on the Leopardopera, so that magenta-y color. Make sure I stick this back in the bag properly. So I did have to rip back a little bit on this week because I got off on decreases, so I wasn't uniformly decreasing in the right spots, but I just ripped back a little bit and called it good. So that was someplace back here. So I'm assuming, yeah, it wasn't back here. It was definitely in the green. So whatever. Got some progress done on this bad boy. I don't know whether or not I will be able to finish it this week. I don't know, the odds don't seem super right now. And at least this row is an easy row, so it's not like it's a big deal to knit. So it would be the case where I managed to get fairly far in it, but then my expectations for how much I could accomplish were way too high. But this is still my only project. I suppose I could talk about some of the other stuff now. So, what is it? I still haven't wound my sweater yarn. I'm sort of wondering whether or not I need to take my red and have it go through another wash just to be super duper sure that it won't bleed, because it'll be pretty bad if it does. So I probably need to take my red skeins out and make sure that they're rinsing cleanly, or making sure that maybe what I'll end up trying to do is do like a cold water rinse and see what happens. But it was the case where like the water was like very faintly pink after I had done it, and it was turning out like bright red previously, so that would seem to imply to me that is much better than what it was before, and it was going to be a hot mess otherwise, but whatever. So there needs to be some double checking for that stuff, because I would like for it to not bleed on my other yarn. The other thing that I do have mostly queued up was back in October I wound some balls because I got a double knit sock blank at SSK 2015 and I decided it was time to use it. So here are my balls, which are randomly a paperclip, pretty delightfully modeled due to the sock blank dyeing. So there's like a lot of variation in tone, even though the sock blank itself was very saturated and dark. In an unrelated side note that was really exciting, my husband was cleaning out his car and found my missing signature double point in like the center console. I don't know how it got there. Really confused, but he found it and I was very excited. So I'm back to 5 signature double points again, which is very happy. So what I ended up doing in preparation for if the unthinkable happened and I ran out of sock knitting, I brought 4 of my sock knitting books with me on the road trip, so that I could select an appropriate pattern for my blue yarn. So I pulled out Outback Socks, which is really a lot of like 2-color designs, but I figured it may as well get pulled out. Sock Innovation, which was my original idea. There are probably a couple of patterns that would look really nice with them. And I really like this book a lot. I think it does a really good job of explaining what's going on. So something like, what is it? Like, I could see how, like, Eunice, for example, would be, let's see which way. So something like Eunice could be a really cute pattern, or where was it? Or the lie could also be, really cute. I think the last one I was thinking of was Rick. So seems like it could be a lot of fun. I don't know if you guys could see that all that well. So it could have been any of those ones. I also, that's what those were. I also pulled up Knitter's Curiosity Cabinet because I've never actually knit one of Hunter Hammerson's patterns before. I knew that there were a lot of really pretty ones in this book. So this one is all based on plants. Oh yeah, I know, that's gorgeous. So It might just be that every single one of the socks in this book is pretty gorgeous. So, like, well, maybe not so much, but pretty high success rate. Let's see if I can get a good picture of. Sadly, they did like a brown and brown on here, but oh boy, it's pretty. So, what would it be? That one was Pinus sylvestris. It could be really gorgeous. Then I have my pamphlets, and then Think Outside the Socks just has all sorts of crazy patterns. Honestly, this visual index probably isn't big enough to properly look at things. A couple of them are actually they have like different sections of sock depending on the craziness of the pattern. So there could be something cool in here. Apple of my eyelid, that's so punny. So it may be the case where I sort of flip through the book and see what's looking cool and what sort of catches my eye. I've already knit designs from Cookie A, so in that regard, it wouldn't quite fit for the Sock Knitter's Cal. But since I'm using a new to me yarn, so that is Sheep Dreamery, which I'm not sure that they're still dyeing at this point. But I bought one sock plank and it's time. But that is looking for some pattern inspiration. And then probably be the case where I would bring whatever pattern I decided to do and make some, scan it so that I have a digital copy and then toss it on my phone. Well, I could just scan it and that would be good because I would email. Yes. And what would it be? Part of that is that it's so much easier to have like a smaller copy of the pattern. So that's the big thing for me, is having the smaller one. Because I don't enjoy lugging around the books. But some of the patterns in books are really pretty. So, I might have gotten my money's worth out of the Think Outside the Socks already from all the times I've knit the hexagon socks. Whatever. I really like that designer. That's Kristen Hall. She has a couple of really clever sock designs, so I like her stuff. So, in the case that there was the danger of casting on socks, I was prepared, but it turned out to be silly. And then I decided to just leave the knitting vintage socks at home. I've actually never knit a Nancy Bush pattern either. Shenanigans. But there's definitely one of them that was really pretty, so I think that's... I don't remember whether or not... I bet my mother-in-law gave me that book. So there's all sorts of cool stuff. But I figured that the tonalness of the yarn would look really good, or it'll completely obscure the pattern and I'll make 2x1 rim socks. It's just I've been doing that a lot lately. I sort of wanted to do something different. You know how you get like in a rut, so I was trying to fix that rut. So, on the spinning front, let's see, I didn't do any spindle spinning. Terrible. I had good intentions of spindle spinning, but it didn't happen. Those books are heavy. But I did manage to get some wheel spinning. Yeah. Oh, okay. Let's see. Let's see that decently. So I am pretty close to done with this first bobbin. This is still the original bobbin of my 5-bump nest combo spin with, oh, what is it? I'm using the colorways Muse, Eclipse, Poppy, Blossom, Aminar, and Fairy Tale, which are all 5 different blends of fibers. So there is Superwash Merino, Merino Silk, Polworth Finn, and Falkland. And you can tell that all of them are different. It was a very interesting textural experience. What I have attached right now is Aminar, which is a Merino Silk blend. I brought the bag with me, maybe that was silly, but so you can sort of get a general gist that my bobbin has lots of pinks and oranges and then bits of purple and blue as well. I think I was hoping for more deeper colors, but just like, let's see if I can lift my bag up. So you can just sort of get a gist here that it does tend to be the lighter shades. I've done no samples. I am living life on the edge. So it'll be exciting. Once I get 3 bobbins full, then I'll start plying, or maybe not. I might actually wait until I fill all of my bobbins. I think I'm going to do so I'm going to have 3 bobbins that are all the way totally hopelessly filled, like this guy will be pretty soon. And then I will probably weigh out into 3 bags the remaining bits, and then I'll just sort of go work through my bag and fill that. I don't know. It's a little challenging. I'm not used to making, or what would be traditional 3-plies are a little bit more challenging. Or whether or not I want to do something where I just randomly take from different bobbins until 6 are done. I don't know. I've been trying. I haven't decided yet, and the time of deciding has not yet come. Because I think if I take the approach of, oh, that's it, totally filling 3 bobbins and partially filling 3 bobbins, that I will have trouble making sure that I have my usage all right. I also just wanted to show my merino silk sample, which 1/2 ounce is not nearly enough yarn for anything, sadly. So I did wash it this week. So you can see here that we got something that's pretty drapey. And if you'll recall, last week it was like springy, like an accordion. It was very, very energized. But now that we have gone through the bath, so there's a little bit of unbalance here, but it's totally limp now. So all of that energy went away in the bath. So I just wanted to show you how transformational a bath is, and that you shouldn't judge a yarn until after it's had a soak. So even though sometimes things will be pretty darn crazy pants, like coming right off the wheel and coming off the nitty naughty, they calm down a lot after a good wash. So everything that is crazy about it chills out. So, let's see if we can make that. Okay, so you can sort of see how things have changed. So it's really pretty. It's very, I think what's interesting about it is the little, how it sort of has like this silk gleam in certain places, not evenly distributed. So it has some interesting texture despite being a pretty fine yarn. Let's see. So I think that I've covered everything this week. Obviously, working on a single project doesn't make for as exciting a podcast, especially when you're sort of towards the end of a pretty decent project. So what is it? There are probably, yeah, it's like a 1,000-yard 1,000-yard cowl. It doesn't make for exciting podcasting, but such is life. I will probably be recording next week Sunday, because what would it be? There's going to be some travel, which it might be the case where you could probably make some sort of like diagram of like plain knitting is better than car knitting is better than couch knitting. Or I'm not sure where knit night falls in that. Knit night might be better than car knitting. So it'd be like plain knitting, knit night, car knitting, and the couch. But there's only limited doses of plain knitting, so there's always that challenge. But that I should be back Sunday, and there should be plenty of time to record them. What would it be? So that would be the 28th of January. Trying to think of anything else I want to talk about. I was wearing my Delancey sweater all day, but it turned out to be a little bit too warm with being upstairs and having hot chocolate. So, and it totally clashed with this shirt, but I was okay with being warm earlier. What was it? I also wanted to mention, I was pretty excited, so New Year's Day, I organized my yarn stash. Last week after the podcast, I went ahead and did a complete organization of my table of crafting, which is like a half-size card table, where I have my Swift, my ball winder, and all sorts of other random things on it. So I managed to clear off the junk and throw away the coupons that had expired, and take some things that had been sitting in there and put them in baskets so they'd take up less space. And so I'm really happy that I did that, because it's really nice to have things be organized. And I also pulled out, I pulled out one of the various base container things my husband's made at some point, and just stuck all my spindles in it, so then they're all now out in the open and ready to go. So I thought that was pretty cool. So it was just nice. I let that go on for too long. So I still probably have a little bit of mess by my little box area next to my chair. What is it? I'm effectively using a storage box, wicker storage box thing as a side table for this couch. So I'll have to ponder how much stuff I want to take off that, or how I want to sort and store it all. But some of it actually does have room, so I could put them places. But would it be? It's looking pretty good in here right now, so that's always nice to be like, haha, I have this under control. So, what would it be? I don't know. I'm certainly curious in how you guys like store your stash and how you set up your crafting space and that sort of thing. I sort of have two crafting spaces. There's a spot where on my couch where I normally like knit and spin, and then there's this room which tends to be more of like a staging area. I don't tend to come up here and just craft for a while unless I really want to be alone. So my question for you guys this week is, how do you do it? I'm curious. Take a picture, throw it on Instagram, throw it in the group. I would really like to see. So with that, I hope you guys have a lovely week, and I look forward to talking to you guys next week. So take care, guys. Bye-bye.